Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I hope we don't have a challenge because I reset the time to 3:30. But 10 minutes of preliminary stuff should not make that big a difference. While I also try to share this information with other people. But George, how was your day today? I mean, how you doing?
Well, it's Sunday. It's another day I didn't go to church, so that's good.
Oh my
Every
God!
every day I don't go
Today
to church
is
is a good
Sunday,
day.
and this boy is blaspheming according to the Christians here.
Every day I don't go to church is a good day. So anyway,
So do you, do you enjoy saying that you are an atheist or something? Do you?
yes,
I
I
mean,
do. I
is that
do.
something?
I enjoy serving notice.
Why does it give you pleasure? Seriously.
It stakes out my
Um,
claim.
but so let me understand this right because
Mhm.
I know you like a straightforward guy. You're a good guy. Everything, even though sometimes people find you to be a little too obnoxious for them, but all in all, your package is very good. So you don't tie your behavior and your respect for people, the way you engage people, to your Christian upbringing at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
So I mean,
People who are not Christians, respect people and they treat people well. Listen, empathy is a trait that's found across the animal kingdom, not just among humans. So the suggestion that we are empathetic or we are moral or we are good only because we believe in God is it doesn't hold water.
okay, I'm just I'm just trying to have a folks. I'm just trying to have a little bit of conversation with my atheist friend here. Why
It,
why the
it, it
numbers
doesn't
rank up a little bit, and so people
it
come
just
on,
doesn't hold water.
and he's very unapologetic about being an atheist. But don't play him though, because he knows the Bible. He has read the Bible multiple
But a
times.
large part of my atheism, Isaac, is informed by the fact that the countries that are the most religious countries in the world happen to be the countries in the global south, and they're the least developed countries. So,
So you
so
tied
that that
underdevelopment.
tells me that you can't pray for development.
No, but yeah,
Okay.
that one not true.
Well, so if you let's look at Liberia. People in Liberia pray more than anybody in the world. Any group of people in the world, Liberians are up there, but it doesn't bring
We
development.
do pray. We do pray a lot. We got
Right.
so many churches.
So if you look at the countries that profess to be religious, but their foundation is in science, that's where you find the development. And I am
So
of this strong belief that religion is holding Liberia back in a very big way.
plus some other things, but yeah, religion is a factor, or our approach to religion, because other people believe in God. They do some other things. They're not underdeveloped like we are. They don't use religion as
Because
a crutch for everything.
religion in Liberia gives us a certain amount of fatalism that says that whatever happens is beyond our control. I don't accept that for 1 minute. Whatever
I don't
happens is
either.
within our control. It didn't happen because God wanted it to happen. Because if that's the lens through which you see your God, then he must not really like your country very much.
And that's my argument most of the time. Like, why Liberia has to suffer? Why things have to be so bad for us when we supposedly have so
But
much?
just
If you
for
just look
us,
at
not for other people. Okay, so
exactly, why are we special? Why are we different?
we are special in our suffering. So, but we fault everything. So when we go to the hospital, and we get inadequate care in Liberia, and people die. And we say, oh, that's just the way God wants it to be. But that is also because religion is so deeply tied into our political structure. Because holding people responsible would change outcomes for a lot of people who go to the hospital. Holding people accountable would change the outcomes. If you believe that you went to the hospital and the reason the person died was because God wanted them to die, then it means nobody's responsible for giving them poor treatment.
Right. You know who anybody responsible for electricity for giving the initial, drip when that person should not have been on
Right,
drip, or
right,
just doctors not being available and the service just not there. So yeah, you got a point.
exactly. So again, this belief that we have some security. Listen, I'm not interested in what's going to happen after I die. I have literally no interest in it at all.
But what can you do? What can you do when you
I'm
die?
interested in what happens while I'm here.
I agree.
Okay. How can I change and impact what is
But
going on
anyway,
here? But let's go on.
yes. Anyway, folks, we're here for a purpose today. As you all know by now, President Joseph N. Boakai appointed Mrs. Layli Maparyan. I hope I'm pronouncing the word right for Mr. Maparyan not to be upset. As the president of the University of Liberia. We know there have been perennial challenges to the University of Liberia. Some of them we feel could have been easily resolved, with the right leadership, with the right vision, with the right exposure of the universities and doing some things, being able to engage people and receive from them. But at the same time, a lot has not happened. We know all the different student arrests, unrest, and arrest that has happened. We know the closure. We know the university professors protest and just the complaints that have come. So with this vacancy, this is a critical appointment, and a lot of people feel it because you can see the attention, the focus. Um, so we decided to come and discuss this, right? For me, um, I'm more like trying to tease out the thoughts of different people on this thing. And one of those who has some very strong thoughts about this is Mr. George Family here. So we try to push him to see the justification or the rationale or the merit in what his thoughts are. And at the same time, hopefully, we'll be monitoring the comments from people because it's the intelligentsia primarily that's interested in this topic and they want to know where the direction of the university is. And somebody was just saying many of the officials of government are graduates of the University of Liberia. Um, many of them would say it took 8 years, 7 years, 9 years to graduate. Um, so do they want something different? Do they want an environment that can be so conducive for the young people that they can have this little acceleration to their academic progress, that they can, graduate from high school 17, 18, 19 in 3.5 to 4 years. The other LU, they're looking at advanced education and give our country a real opportunity. So, we have here with us Mr. George Family. Um, George, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. You can go ahead. I didn't feel I need to introduce myself, but if you want
No,
to,
I don't need to
you can go
introduce
ahead
myself.
and give your
Liberians know
premise.
Liberians know who I am. However, let's just cut to the chase. Okay.
Okay,
I was very excited
right.
about this appointment.
Let's hear it.
Okay. And the reason I was
Okay,
excited before was because she comes from Wellesley. Wellesley is one of the premier institutions in the country when it comes to educating women. Okay. Madeleine
right,
Albright attended Wellesley, as did Hillary Clinton, as did my daughter, Whitney Fambolek, who graduated in 2018.
right,
Then I go back and I read her bio. And it turns out that she graduated from Spelman in 1986. Well, my wife
Okay.
graduated from Spelman in 1984. So their paths may have crossed. But it tells,
Tell people a little bit of what Spelman is, what Spelman
okay,
represents.
Spelman is the premier HBCU, and it is
What is
in all
HBCU? Historically
is
Black colleges and
college or
universities for people.
university. Okay. And so it's one of the places where that takes young Black women and molds them into highly productive people.
Citizens. Yeah.
Why this is particularly important to me is because I know and I'm keenly aware of the imbalance we have in our society when it comes to women in education. The government has not been, in the more recent years, the champion of women's education. Liberia is 51% women, but women are
Can you just
essential.
not limit it to education, just women anything? It's just been
Fine,
kind of very
but
limited.
when we look at women, when we look at the University of Liberia, what is the percentage of students that are females?
I would like to know the numbers. And those
Right.
are some of the
So
metrics I would like for this lady to say what she would change. But go ahead.
exactly. But I know that women are underrepresented. Women are even more underrepresented in the technical fields. Okay. We can't build a country where we relegate 50% of our intellectual capital to underdevelopment, undereducation, miseducation. And we need to change that dynamic by bringing in people who understand what it means for a woman to enter higher education, what it means for a woman to what it means to educate women in a way that they are competitive and they are productive citizens. So, you know, that's the level of my excitement. I have been taken aback, though, by the criticism of this appointment by
Okay,
Liberians.
let's deal with this first criticism that we have here. Breakable Pawu says, but we cannot leave Liberians who are qualified and put a foreigner on key institutions that's supposed to be for Liberian. And then adds, that has nothing to do with her appointment. We have Liberians who are well learned more than her, period. What's your impression about what he just said?
Okay, so what does he mean?
If you click
We have,
on the
well, yeah, I'm
top
looking at
right,
the comment. What does he mean to begin with that we have Liberians who are more educated than her? Okay, she has a PhD in psychology. Let's start there. So I don't know what more educated he's talking about. So let's dismiss that
and
from the beginning by saying that he's wrong. You can say
because
we have
he
Liberians.
provides
No.
nothing that
We
attests to
have
that.
no, Isaac. We can have a discussion and say we have Liberians that are as educated than as she is. The premise that we have
In
education
terms of,
Liberians that are in terms of having a terminal degree. This woman has a
no,
PhD in
but I'm
psychology.
saying,
What is the argument that you have
hold on one
Liberians that are
second.
more educated than she is? More educated in what way?
There may be Liberians who, he said, more, who are word learn more, right? So for
I don't understand what that
me,
means.
I
He's
don't know
not even
what
speaking
he's using
English.
as that measurement. Thank you. I don't know what he's using as that measure to determine that somebody else is more well learned. So we have to really kind of dismiss that. But the issue
Right.
about putting somebody who's not Liberian into a position of like for dedicated or supposed to be for Liberian, reserved for Liberian, is something
Look,
of concern.
let
And
me tell you
from
something,
my perspective,
okay?
no, we got to deal with that. Yeah,
Okay,
let me
go
hear it.
ahead.
Then I will come in.
Yeah, I'm gonna dismiss that out of
No,
hand because let me. I'm gonna dismiss it out of hand because this is the same nonsense that we hear from people in Liberia, in the government, for the reasons why they can't include people in the diaspora, for the reasons why you have to be on the ground to make things happen, even though we live in a world that's interconnected by the internet. Every excuse to keep mediocrity on the ground is this is what they are doing. And here's why, I think the University of Liberia has been closed for 7 months. Where are the Liberian people at the close of the university? Where are your Liberian professionals there at?
Okay.
Where were they at?
So they were not appointed in that time frame. So that's a different thing.
Okay, but then let them put, did they come back and did they come and put a name forward and say, I won't be president of the university? As soon as they appoint a woman, they say, oh, where are the Liberian people at? Man, y'all go sit down, man. I don't have time for that. That's nonsense.
Okay,
it's nonsense.
Okay, so you dismiss it. I won't dismiss it because I believe in the rule of law. And if I'm still trying to find the exact passage that states in terms of the academic scene or University of Liberia where the president is supposed to be a Liberian. But let's assume that's what it is, and people are right, since the history has always been a Liberian. But our immigration law allows that woman to be a Liberian. I don't know if she has done her oath of I don't know if she has done her oath of allegiance or not. So I'm saying we can't dismiss people. We have to give them the fact that she is or has the right to be or automatically becomes a Liberian once she can make that oath of office. But there's also a provision, I believe, in the Constitution where the president himself, can actually ask the people at immigration to make somebody a citizen. That's another possibility. So this whole issue of she not Liberian, she Liberian, let's face it, she is of Negro descent and she can be Liberian by the time she appears before a council or she goes to Liberia before a circuit court judge. Immediately she's a Liberian, and the issue is a moot issue before she takes the position. So now let's focus on the merit of this selection and the potential benefits or non-benefits that it can bring.
Let's stay on this one small, okay? Her husband is a Liberian. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You are a Liberian. Your wife is an American. I am a Liberian.
Right.
My wife is an American. Your wife is a nurse practitioner with decades of experience. My wife is a physician
with 30 years.
With more than 34 years as a practicing physician. Now, I want to see which Liberian is going to hold it against her that she's not a Liberian because she wants to help your decrepit healthcare system where people die people are safer by not going to the hospital in Liberia. Okay? They are safer. At least they know they will die on their own instead of going to the hospital and somebody killing them. So at the end of the day, you people want to use this, oh, you're not Liberian. Listen, your country is a beggar nation. The snot that comes from your nose.
No, our country. Don't say yours. Don't say yours.
No, I will talk to them because I know how I feel. The toilet paper that you use to wipe the snot from your nose is paid for by donor money. You can't even pay your salaries. You have somebody who has 5 years to go before she can retire. Literally 5 years to go from in a comfortable situation at Wellesley College. And she's decided that she is going to come to Liberia to tackle this mammoth problem that you people could not even open your university for the last 7 months. Your own university, you couldn't open it. Somebody is coming and your complaint is that she's an American. There's a level of stupidity here that I really don't understand. And I think unless we change our mindsets as Liberians, we will not move this country forward. Your university has been closed for 7 months.
A lot of issues are driven by mindset. And yes, there's a lot of mindset issues we have that we have to change. I don't disagree. This openness to the diaspora and to other professionals is one of the, and to our own professionals first, is one of the key things, local and diaspora, because the discrimination or the attempt sometimes by people in position to sideline, or suppress the capabilities of others is not just restricted to
My man,
this particular
man
issue.
came to all
So
here
now,
just the other day, the LTA had a program for cybersecurity. Do you know how many Liberian cybersecurity
true,
professionals there are in the world? And just by
I probably know about
virtue of
30.
the fact, that it was cyber, should tell you that the people did not necessarily have to be in Liberia. And it seems to me that they went out of their way to exclude diaspora Liberians from that group. Because you are not going to tell me that they made an honest effort to bring in Liberians from all over the globe who are in this field. There are Liberians who are in Liberia right now, who are cybersecurity professionals who were not invited to the program. What is this thing
And that's a
about? You
fact.
got to.
And the fact is, the people there know those individuals, and they know they are
Yes.
competent cyber security professionals. So yes, that particular whole thing, I have a problem with them on
So
that.
this is
With
something that
both.
is systemic. This is something that is systemic that Liberians all over the world want to help. Okay, but every time we show up, we run up against people in government who use this idea of why you got to be on the ground. You got to do this, you got to do that before you can engage with government in a constructive way. So now this lady has decided to come on the ground and be the president of the University of Liberia that has been closed for 7 months. And their argument is you're not Liberian, but you don't, when the Liberians want to come on the ground, you don't even want them to come. So you just need to shut up about that. Okay. I don't want to hear it from you. Thank you. You muted, Isaac.
Yeah, no, I'm muted. I'm talking to somebody who just called. So we have a caller. Please introduce yourself and say where you're calling from.
This is Bruno Powell. Thank you for the show. Listen, my brother, family. We don't have it's not argument to be. Nobody saying the woman is not qualified. We know the woman is qualified. But the argument is being a citizen or being appointed as a citizen is two different things. Listen, the reason most people have citizenship in the country is because somebody's job, before you have it, you have to be citizen of the country. Any other country I go in, somebody's job. Somebody immediately before you have it, you have to be citizen. You can't be somebody don't green card holder and get all immediately. It doesn't happen in the country that we in. So no. We talk about Liberia to learn and Liberia to get ownership of the country. Did you appoint somebody that is not citizen? Is that because that was not even important? We all have people in the country. People in the country are doing things that are not correct. We have to discuss about that topic is different. We talk about taking Liberia priority over issue. I want to discuss it.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody don't you want to appoint them because of they want to be appointed? No.
All right, Breakable. Thank you. Well, if you want to call back, you can call back, but we'll discuss what you just mentioned.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Her husband is a Liberian.
His point is about Liberians, but the point is she is or she can be a Liberian before she assumes this position. So I think that's a moot issue about whether she's Liberian or not.
You see, these people, because they don't know history, I believe it was the Liberian footballer Massa who was made a Liberian citizen by President Tubman when they needed him to play a soccer match. So under the Alien and Naturalization Act, the president can waive the waiting period for anybody to be a Liberian citizen. Okay? You people are here arguing. Just the other day, you had some fake Nigerian, literally a Nigerian who was claiming that he was a Liberian.
George, 1 second. Let me bring you to a point. I have a comment in here, and the person called and I told I wouldn't allow them on because they were insulting you. My question to you is, did you say Liberians were stupid just now?
No, I said the action is stupid. You can do something stupid without being
James,
stupid.
I hope you have Well, question. People do a lot. I've done a lot of stupid things. That one not true. So at least we got that clear. But we are trying to do a show to inform people, and we have to be civil and respectful to each other. So James, if you can delete your comment, please do so. The man has said he didn't call Liberian stupid. And we'll have to move on with the show. So we have on the line, sir. Please introduce yourself and tell us where you're calling from.
Hi, good morning, Isaac and George. How are you? I'm Alfred. I call from Australia.
That I was about to say, because you're all the way on the other side of the world, you didn't monitor us, but go ahead.
No worries. So basically, I've been following the conversation between you and George in the studio. I think he makes a quite valid point. But you know, initially, by the inception of this entire conversation, I initially did the research on this issue that you are probably discussing this today. What I found out is that there are a couple of things. The first thing is that the government itself, when they made the announcement, they created a doubt. And that doubt was that by them mentioning that the US president was married to a Liberian. Now, just by the insinuation by married to a Liberian, without saying who that Liberian was, created a doubt. Now, my whole concern has to do with the entire application of the law. Now, we have the Constitution, we have the Alien and Nationality Law. Now, that law was amended in 2022 by the George Weah administration. Initially, under our laws, Liberians women could not give citizenship. Even if a Liberian man married to another woman overseas whatsoever, that woman who he married to would not obtain the right of citizenship. Under the George Weah administration, that law was amended. It means that a woman who is of Negro descent marrying a Liberian man also has the right, automatically has that right to a Liberian citizenship. Same applies to the case. Now, in the case of misrepresentation, as people are discussing now, and that means that, for example, they might say, well, she's not a Negro descent. She's not this, she's not that. Under the amended statute, it is only the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia that has the right to challenge that misrepresentation.
That's true.
No one else can do that.
Right.
So until the Attorney General goes to court and challenges the ethnicity of the US president, everything is mute.
Right.
So what we need to embrace, like George said, is that we need to embrace the diversity of views.
Oh, but we are embracing it. That's what we're hearing from different people.
Exactly. So, and then with regard, the appointment of an academic to the University of Liberia is not and should not be based on nationality. It should be based on the contribution to scholarship, people who contribute to knowledge, people who impact knowledge. This is exactly what should be the focus. And I believe that's the reason why the Boakai administration decided that in September of 2024 to amend the George Weah statute by removing all of the restrictions. So if the restriction, for example, under the Weah administration's act were in place, the appointment of the US president would have been illegal. But because that was removed by the Boakai administration, it means that the US president can ascend to an institution, including our scientific institution, which were restricted under the Weah administration.
So that's a great point he raised. The stuff I was talking about was in the previous law, and it was amended in this law, because previously the whole thing about scientific institution, whatever other people, I don't know that the university is a totally scientific institution. But it is. Why? With all the business administration and the political science and the public administration, you say scientific institution.
Who told you political science are real science?
Okay.
Environmental sciences, all of these.
No, but the point is not
political science and African science not that much difference.
No, but
it's legal, it's legitimate, and it's constitutional. So for me, in my view, this is the first time the Boakai administration have acted within the law.
Hey, don't put numbers on the people actions. Don't put numbers. So Thank you for the call. Thank you for the call. We gotta get a couple other callers, but yeah, we appreciate it. So this is my personal research assistant when it comes to legal stuff. Alfred is the first one that would trigger and tell me this is this, that is that. And thank you, Alfred. He was the one who really brought to my attention the changing of the 2022 immigration and alien and immigration law.
I think where we can find that document.
No, I share the document, the renewed document and the revised document. I share it, and it's there, but I didn't go through the entire document. I'll share with you. I thought I shared it in general, but it's a link that's on the post I did. There's a link there for the document. But yes, folks. So we got a couple of different comments here. Mr. Fleming says generally Liberians are not ready for progress. Liberia needs all the help she can get, but sadly, the majority of Liberians are comfortable in a state of, the man said disease, because they don't know any better. They love the US dollar, but not a US professional willing to make a sacrifice of such a magnitude to help a failing situation. Unbelievable. Well, she is Liberian by all definition, and we don't know for sure whether she has not already done that oath of allegiance in front of a council or maybe on one of her previous visits to Liberia, because she has been interacting with the University of Liberia in a different role. So, we can put that, but I think we need to put that Liberian team in and just look at the competence of the lady, because now somebody bring in a different issue. I support that lady appointment for one reason, since she's psychology and 90% of the US students are suffering mental health, and she could help us mitigate mental issues. No, Isiaga Kruma, stop. No, but what he's saying though has some substance in terms of the entire population. We are a post-traumatic stress disorder population. I don't care what people say, whether you are there for the war or not, we're all affected. And some studies have shown that nearly 40% of our population, some people even think it's higher, have
our people lash out. Just the other day, they killed somebody, in the street. That literally happened the other day.
And I'll tell you about two persons. They nearly killed. Okay. I don't know if they stay alive or not. I shouldn't say what nearly, but we have this jungle.
This is a trauma. Mindset. This is a traumatized society, and we need major types of intervention to reduce that level of traumatic behavior. Okay. It also does not help.
That's true.
It also does not help that in all the years that we have been post-war, that we went through Ebola, in all of those years, we have not developed a national emergency response number or a call center. And, I'm going to call Director Coleman out on this. This is essential for police work. The citizens have to have a place where they
how you shift the topic?
No, I'm saying
how you shift the topic to 911.
The topic went from the fact that there were people murdered in the streets in Liberia, and the police were not able to intervene. If the citizens had a number that they could call, the police would be able to intervene.
The man said both of the people die. And definitely mob action. We cannot find solutions in mob action. We got to wake people up. We got to punish people for that.
We can't, because we are unable to police the population. These things, by the time the police intervene, it's too late. Listen,
okay,
our
George,
problems. Our problems, Isaac,
to a different level.
Our problems require systemic solutions.
The police are not equipped. The police are not resources. They're not equipped. They're not properly staffed. How do you expect them to police a country with 5 million people with only 5,000?
Thank you. So listen to me now. I don't expect them to do that. What I'm saying is our problems in Liberia are systemic. Okay? It's not, we need to look at all of the issues surrounding justice. You can't just talk people out of being criminals, right? You have to
No,
have
you can.
adequate policing. You have to have
work like
adequate justice. So that's all well and good. So let's talk about this lady going to the University of Liberia that has been closed for
Right.
7 months.
So I think to a large extent, we have moved from the issue of citizenship. Now let's talk. Maybe some people may want to talk comparative qualifications, so we can go through her resume and see some of the points. Because one person raised a minute point, but to them it's a point. So let's get rid of it. Supposedly, Martin Colley is raising the issue that the woman's resume said, oh, she's still chair of the Africana Studies at Wellesley College, but she's not. You want to address that, or do you want me to address that?
I want to address it. Martin Colley misread the CV. In the upper right-hand corner of the CV, it says clearly when the CV was written. And so when she wrote the CV, it said from then to present. Present as in that date you see up there, that's present.
That date, that particular
2020.
date.
It didn't mean that she's currently the chair. Okay? So Martin Colley's accusation seemed like she was committing some sort of misrepresentation. She wasn't. The resume they had a date on there,
No, she
and the
wasn't.
information on the resume was correct at the time of that resume. Now, somebody else say, well, why hasn't she corrected the resume? Okay. Okay, she's not the chair, she's the executive director. Is that what we're quibbling about now? Because currently she's the executive director. So I want to know,
So that,
is Martin's quibble?
No. But we look at the issue Martin raised is a non-issue because of the date. Definitely, she was talking up to 2020 when she was actually in that position. So we're not going to deliberate on that part. I just want to clarify for people. This woman's qualification is highly respectable. Temple University with a PhD, Penn State with a MS in psychology, Spelman College with a bachelor in philosophy. I think that on the education side, she's well versed. Then she has been, in terms of employment, the Africana Studies. Right now, she's executive director for the Wellesley Centers for Women. She has been an associate professor at Georgia State. She has been a visiting associate professor at her school, Spelman College. She has been a graduate director for Women's Studies Institute, visiting assistant professor, associate faculty at Georgia State. She has been at Emory. She's been at adjunct graduate faculty at the University of Georgia. So from an academic standpoint, she has been in green academia from 1993 to present. So we can't question that, except somebody can go and find out that she's not. She has published too. That's another thing. Somebody say, oh, her resume 41 pages, but she got to get her own on awards. She was a Fulbright specialist for 3 years. So, she was National Women's Studies Association, Gloria E. Anzaldúa Book Prize, honorable mention. The Elizabeth Hurler Beckman Award. She has a Certificate of Appreciation, Outstanding Faculty Award. Ronald C. Foreman Jr. Lecturer Award, African American Studies Program, University of Florida. So this woman has a lot of credits. Her books, she has 3. Womanism Rising, The Womanist Idea, The Womanist Reader. Okay. She has contributed to other books where she's written chapters into those different books. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different books or more. As I scroll down, I see more. She has done journal articles, multiple journal articles in combination with other professionals and by herself. So she's researched. She's done book reviews. She's done online publication. The links are all there. So, when it comes to the academic portion, I think this is very clear on this woman's qualification, on her exposure in terms of her interaction with other professionals, on her publications, and her professional work. So for me, I don't know what the issues are. What I want to look at now, oh, okay, so this is a lady who has gotten grants, contracts, and fellowship in, basically submitting it as her creativity in creating programs that other people can participate or benefit from. So overall, I'm looking at this one: excellence in higher education for Liberia development, e-health. Okay, she was a sub. Ray Herring was a prime, and they got, did no more correct? Amount, she as a sub 1.195 million, and a prime 19.144 million. You see, now my project management side will come out, and I want to know the e-health program, how successful it was, but she said it was not funded. So maybe 2011 to October 2015 was the time frame. So maybe it was an application that was not funded. But you know, she's done a lot. She understands the grant process from all the grants I've seen that she has, you know, applied for a year, and some of them she was successful in getting. So
she's a member
my
of the
thoughts now, I
board.
want to shift to
She's a member of the board for the Global Fund for Women. Okay, one of the reasons people hire.
I don't know how large that institution is, but go ahead.
One of the reasons people hire university presidents is in their ability to attract funding, to raise money from both private and public donors. Okay, I would tell you that right now, her Spelman sister, Roz Brewer, is now the president of Spelman College. Roz graduated from Spelman in 1984, so they were at Spelman at the same time. They crossed paths. The paths crossed. So just let's look at a situation where we have these extremely accomplished American women in academia who are connected, who can put together programs that say, this is how we think we can help the University of Liberia. The amount of help that the university—
I just brought a simple perspective.
Okay. The amount of
Go ahead, finish, I will come in.
That the University of Liberia needs, I don't think people fathom it. Listen, in every institution of higher learning in this country, when a student enrolls, they get a university email address. They get access to the university's internet to use. We don't even have that at the University of Liberia. My daughter still uses her Wellesley edu Wellesley.edu email address.
I know a lot of people who still use the Columbia.edu, the NYU.edu email addresses.
You get to keep that for life. Okay.
Yes.
Guess what? That service is not free. Okay. Somebody's paying for it. So at the end of the day, the amount of help that the university needs, we need people who can attract outside funding. What was the university's budget for last year? The fact that the university is still closed.
Okay, so for me, I really want to see what the university is doing with the money, right? I saw $33.481 million for this 2025. I can try to find, I think I had it out here in terms of the draft budget, so it would tell me the 2024 number for the University of Liberia 2024. Oh, that is the number. 2024, the budget was $23.481 million. I don't know. The whole budget system here, that's only that different discussion again. The outturn though was 28.2. 28 point. Anytime you look at a broad number, there's just something that triggers you to say, damn it, it's here.
And the fact that so many of these programs are funded only on an annual basis, it leads to a lot of uncertainty.
Right. The lack of continuity is a problem.
They don't have any long-term planning. So this is where perhaps if you brought in somebody who has the ability to raise supplemental funds, you can fill in the gap and you can make sure that these programs continue. Right.
I was talking to Lester Tenney. I would say, if this woman can bring, let's make it a conservative number, $10 million extra outside of whatever this university budget is, that looks like it's only for salaries and gas and, you know, whatever else. How can that impact the university? He laid out multiple things that can be impacted. I mean, the entire university is decrepit. Nobody can tell the last time that university was really painted. Somebody said they raised funds to paint that university and they were not painted. So what happened with the money that they raised?
Exactly.
The chairs, the conditions, the kids in school, the internet stuff you're talking about, the fiber comes right up to the Capitol building, right? In Liberia.
Yes.
So
the fiber comes to the Capitol building. So why isn't it at the university? But the whole internet.
I can't answer that question.
The whole internet system in Liberia is a mess because the government of the government of Liberia through the cable consortium of Liberia has only allocated 45% of the ACE cable to be used among the three companies. Only 45%. The government of Liberia is literally sitting on 55% unused internet capacity every single day. But then they are forcing government ministries to, including the University of Liberia, to purchase internet services from third-party vendors. So, like Isaac described it to me earlier.
I mean,
today,
that is so wrong.
And this is the best description. It's like having bags of rice in your house, but going to the market every day to buy 1 cup of rice to cook, and refusing to open the bags of rice that you have. So I would really like for somebody from the LTA to come on and say, why is it that we have locked away 55% of the capacity of the ACE cable, and we are complaining that we don't have capacity, so we bring in Starlink? How does that work?
I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I don't think it can work. So these numbers, I mean, it just seems like copy and paste.
So let me go back. Let me go back to Gene, who said I call Liberians stupid. It makes no sense. There's no business sense you can make for the government of Liberia holding on to 55% of unused internet capacity and getting nothing for it, while forcing government institutions to pay up to $50,000 a year to get internet to their locations.
Yeah,
these are some of the challenges that this lady has to deal with.
Welcome, folks, for some of you who are just joining us.
How do you run a world-class university that's not connected to the world?
Some of you who are just joining us, we're having this discussion. But because people don't understand, the university is really the center of our country. It's a hot blood, the whole university system, not just LU now. But the fact that LU is the state university and it has all these deficiencies, all these defects, and people, smart people, are taking 7 years, 8 years to get out of that university, it's a problem. And we got to recognize it. So we got to find somebody who can find solutions to some of these things to accelerate the progress. We can't look at our 30-year-old people just graduating from college being equal to the 22, 23-year-old children who are graduating, you know, from college in America, or probably some of them even younger. So there has to be a way for us to move the university forward. I was suggesting, in terms of this woman focus, it has been on women, women, women. And for me, true crab, crawfish can drink water. So there are multiple ways that she can improve the university just focusing on women. One simple way is to look at the enrollment number. George was asking for that number. I don't know what the number is, but let's say, for example, the enrollment at the University of Liberia for women is 20%. If she says she's want to target in 3 years, she want to target a 20% increase to make it 40% of women enrollment, okay, then in 5 years time, she wanted to be, you know, another 10% to be 50-50 based on our population. Actually, women are more than men in Liberia right now. It's like 51% to 49%. But what if she can get people to accelerate the learning of girls starting from the 7th grade, that they can be capable enough when they come to 12th grade, whether for WAS exam or whatever for LU entrance, to be able to pass those more easily. You implement that program in school, boys will benefit, because there are multiple things, not just teaching the people the lesson in terms of accelerating the, you know, educational opportunities or capabilities of young girls. The same way within the university, if she says she wants more girls in science, you got to equip the science lab. they got to do X, they got to do Y, they got to do Z. So there's
What's
just
the
a lot
benefit?
of opportunities if this lady, true to her
What's the
resume,
benefit?
can perform based on that, build relationships, and where she comes from, that corridor in Massachusetts, that one of the highest level of learning and academia in
In the
in
world.
America. You
In
got
the
the
world.
MITs, you got the Harvard,
You got MIT, you got
yes,
Harvard, you got
in the
Radcliffe,
world.
you got
You got
Wellesley,
Northeastern, you got
you got
Boston College,
Northeastern, Boston University, you have Amherst. I mean,
you
you have
got
just
Babson.
the best hospitals in the best medical facilities and everything in the world. But here's the thing, Isaac. Okay, you know,
Right.
I think what really moves me about this appointment, especially when it comes for women, to women, as a person who attended an all-male college, Morehouse, and my wife attended an all-female college. When women are put in an environment where they don't necessarily have to compete with men, you produce outstanding, exceptional women. And I'm dead
That's true.
serious about that. Okay, you produce women
But
who
we can
are
even go back to
confident,
convent. We can go back
right?
to convent.
Right. You
To
produce
convent in
women who are
Liberia. We can go
confident.
back to that.
You produce women who master the subject matter area, and by the time they get out of college, they are ready to perform in a situation in a male-dominated society like Liberia. We have to look at how we can develop special programs to give women confidence so they don't feel they're backbenchers or they're supposed to meet a minister in the hotel to get a job and all that kind of nonsense.
I know.
I just have to
George, you
throw that
remember
in
when we
there.
were growing up what they said? Women, women don't know math. Women, women not good at
Yes,
math. It was just a blanket statement that people were making. But I have smart people like Agnes Elliott, like Cecilia Davis, like Frances Cisse, and a lot of other females who was very smart, even in high school. You know, to
exceptional.
Derry Macaulay, after Eastman, the rest of them. These Liberians, I believe we are very smart people, but I do believe the women are smarter. But so the
But
opportunity is
our
here. We cannot
patriarchy
dismiss.
holds them back.
It
Our
does. It
patriarchy
does. It
holds
holds
them
women
back, and
leadership
that's
back.
a problem for Liberia.
But we
It's a
got a
problem
good
because
comment here
that's
from Dr.
50.
Tyrese Fukula. Dr.
What she
Kula
say?
say, I know Dr. Layli Maparyan. She is a friend, and I can assure you she knows and understands the Liberian system. She is highly qualified, loves Liberia, and can bring funding to the school. Let's please give her a chance. I mean, I think she will have a chance. And somebody had mentioned, I think it was Mr. Flemister, the different challenges she will face and the roadblocks. Yes, that will be there. People will try to compromise her. By nature, we are recalcitrant people. We don't like leadership. We don't like people to function, and we want to
We don't
prove
like
and we think
change.
negative about people. We want to prove and make that negative a reality with our own influence instead of letting things just happen. So yes, she'll be challenged. Her task is not easy, but I think from what I'm seeing, there will be a lot of support for her, even within the university system, which is be critical for her to be successful. And we just hope that it materializes so that and she can be able to not just be caught in a little small firestones all around. And that's why I don't know who the deputy for administration is at the university, but that person will primarily be left to run the university. She will be the one running around trying to get the funding, trying to create programs, trying to get more support from people and stuff like that. So, it's very important that we recognize that it's not an easy role. She doesn't have any magic wand that she would just flip and things will just happen for Liberia.
But Isaac, just
People
bringing in
have
the
to
type of
understand it will take some time.
just bringing in the type of organizational skills it takes to manage the university. Okay, what are the projects for the year? What is the maintenance? The university has to be painted. Is there a budget to paint the university? If people donate money to paint the university, was that money used to paint the university? No. Okay, getting in a student record system is a real student record system. Okay, one that can be used like the ones that are used all over the world. This is not something we have to build. This is something that universities everywhere in America have one. to make it easier for students to register, to get a copy of their records, and all of those kind of things. We have today at the university people able to fake their degrees and show up. That's a problem. That's a records management problem. So, I'm really, really disappointed. I'm very happy with the appointment, but I hope that if President Boakai catches this broadcast, that he will give her all of the support to deal with the challenges of institutional corruption at the university. That's what I said. I said institutional corruption at the university. The only way somebody can show up for minister job with a degree from the University of Liberia that they didn't earn, it says that there's institutional corruption there. And I'm not sure what investigation was made into that person's supposedly fake degree and who got fired for it. But we just can't continue to let things go under the rug or pray that they get better.
Hold on. We have a caller. Caller, please introduce yourself and make your point. Tell us where you're calling from.
Hi there, Mr. Tupa and Mr. Family. I'm Uzondu, and I'm calling from Monrovia, Liberia. Sorry.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, so actually, I really called Ava to say thank you for bringing out George, Mr. Family, because he's somebody that I know. He speaks to issues, and his ideas for things and how our system is supposed to work is something that I really, really admire. I hope you're able to bring it out even more on some of these conversations, because it's so difficult for him to come out. He did it in the past, but I think he went back on the rock, but you got to go back and get him out to be able to speak to some of these issues, especially crucial issues such as the current debate that's going on.
Yeah, I try my best, but I gotta keep the man in check. Sometimes the man can say all kind of things, so I gotta keep him in check. I gotta make sure.
George speaks his mind. He's brutally frank, man. He doesn't care.
Okay, we got another caller coming in. And I must say,
thank you.
Thank you for calling. I got to bring the people with the caller. Yes, caller. How are you?
This is Alfred Johnson.
Okay, Alfred Johnson. Yeah, Alfred, please make your point. And I do have a problem with the comment you make, but go ahead, make your point first.
All right. I mean, obviously, like I said, I think our appointment is a very, very good appointment. Honestly, I have no issue with it. I'm just praying that the government gave her the needed support, because she's one person in that Liberia, and we all know the situation, how difficult it gets in that place when you want to institute change, especially at the University of Liberia. But I do think that if Joseph Boakai, everybody gave her the support, I have no doubt that she can really deliver. She's from, like you guys say, she's from pretty much the academic capital of the United States. Massachusetts has some credible institutions. Her academic background is another thing. Also, people have issue talking about hiring her. I say, listen, there are certain people you hire not just for their qualification, you also hire them for what they bring, their credibility, their connections, their ability to get you funding. This lady can do a lot of things if we give her the chance to do that. So she's not being hired just because of academic credential, because there are Liberians who have similar academic background, but she's being hired because of the ability for her to bring funding to the school. You have to be able to get these grants, like you guys say. You have to be able to provide funding for LU. There is no way LU can function on government budget, and then you have to be able to have outsourced sources to fund the University of Liberia. And George made a point about her women's study background. Her women's study can really enhance girls' education, like from the secondary school, that can be able to prepare them when they go to take university entrance. They will be better at university entrance. They will be better at WIAC entrance and all the different things. So I think we have a good person here. It is the responsibility of the government now to be able to give her needed support, both financially and in terms of the moral backing, so that she can go to institute the change for which they hire her.
Thank you. Where I have the issue with you is you said, stop that. Women have not been held back in Liberia in the manner in which you are speaking. Liberia is one of the most liberal societies in the West African region and possibly Africa. Where I disagree with you is there's a systemic holding back of women. For example, a lot of people in the indigenous sector, they will quicker send their sons to school before they send their daughters to school. And if the money limited, especially, definitely the boys. And even though times are hard sometimes, kids go to school one semester, they don't go to school the next semester, then the next year they go to school that second semester before they pass the grade. So they basically trying to do 2 years for one grade. But to a large extent, women have been held back. We are a male-dominated society. We have a lot of insecure men who cannot handle successful women or the success of women when they are being compared, and they use that as a means to hold them back. Even in schools, the sex for grades, in jobs, the sex for work, for promotion, all of those hold women and stop them from really demonstrating and excelling at what their natural competence can lead them to. So I totally disagree with you. I think women are held back, whether professionally, whether academically, whether in terms of opportunities and access. But again, maybe we need to do an actual study, to get the hard numbers in terms of, interviewing or surveying maybe 10,000 people and getting those numbers. But from my experience, I disagree with you on that. I mean, feel free if you want to rebut. You got the opportunity.
I would like to address that point. See, as your point you are making is a matter of family choices and decision. You may not like it, but I don't think the decision to educate, if the family doesn't have money, I don't think the decision to educate the boy child over the girl child is a matter of discrimination. It's a matter of, okay, the guy, if the boy child goes high up, he can be able to provide for the family. The woman goes, her children get her man will take care of her. That's the first thing. I mean, it's not what I'm saying, but that's the logic.
No, wait, Josh. Wait, let him finish. Let him finish. You can tear that apart. That's terrible.
So I'm not saying that's why I believe. I'm saying that's some of the reason behind the decision. The also thing is, they believe that usually in a society, the man is the provider. So they feel by educating the man will be able to provide more for the family. Because women, like we say, women can be on the road. That's the percentage. Woman can be on the road. Is that a good way of thinking? No, but I don't think it has to do with sexism and holding women back. It will have to do with traditional people making a decision. It has to do more with the economic benefit.
But that's the point.
But it is. It's definitely when you say okay. When you say,
let me land.
Okay, land. Tell me when you have landed.
Let him land, George. He land here. Airplane still flying. Let him land.
I mean, George, you trying to crash me?
You want to crash land? You go ahead.
I don't want to crash land. I don't have the ability to crash land. But I'm not in agreement with that. But that's the logic behind it. Say, I don't think the traditional people go there and say, oh, they get the sexism, you don't know better and things like that. I think it's about economic. It's an economic decision. Is it fair? No, it's not. It's not fair. But again, the whole world is not fair. That's how when you go in situation, they say women and children first. When you go in war and the hostage situation, they take the woman and the children and leave the men there. So it's a matter of choice. It's certain area women have advantages, certain area women don't have disadvantages. So that's the structure of society. Certain area men have advantages, certain area men don't have advantages. Now, has the Liberian society been dominated by men? Yes. But we cannot say, compared to other parts of Africa, Liberia has been a very liberal society. Women have been leading in Liberia on so many occasions. Liberia elected a female president before any African country did. We have female head of state, Ruth Founder Perry, before any African country did. So I understand what you're saying, but I don't know if we want to say that the country has held women back, like that the country in and of itself has women back. I think sexism, misogynist, men like that, absolutely. And the sex for grade and things like that, that's an entirely social, that's a social discussion we can have, because people themselves, other men who have experiences in terms of sex for grade, but they have to provide other things too to get grades. Men have been in the same situation, but again, that's an entirely different discussion. But my main point I don't want to go on the discussion about gender and gender role, but I think my main thing is this lady, my issue I have with people is people having problems with all qualification. I mean, saying that whatever they pay her is going to be too much and things like that. And I'm saying, if you want the best, we've argued in Liberia that we should hire the best. The best come with a high price tag. If you don't want the best, that's cool. Stay with the mediocrity people. But if you want somebody who can produce, who can give credibility to the University of Liberia, who can be able to put the University of Liberia on a much better footing, who can give University of Liberia credibility that will be able to give us some leverage in the international academic world, I think this lady is the best person. But the government has to support her. If they don't, whatever they are paying her is just going to be free.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. George, you want to address him, and then we'll give him
Yes.
1 minute for last word, and then we'll move to the next.
So this idea that there is not a systemic patriarchy that pulls women back in Liberia, and this kind of innate sexism that he alludes to when he say women kinja can't leave on the road, meaning somebody will pick her up. That's what it means. Okay.
Yeah.
So if a woman is undereducated, if she's
Somebody will find her.
miseducated, somebody will pick her up, and they will pick her up because she's a woman to basically use her for sex so that and give her support. However, here's what the actual science says, that when women are educated, their children do better
But they can have that. They're closer to the
because
kids.
they
can
can
have them with
provide
lessons.
for their children. When the men
Yes.
leave them and go away, if a woman is educated, she can provide for her children. This is why it is so important to not interrupt the education of women before they get to the college level. Let me just tell you right now, I have advocated for giving girls in high school birth control. Now, all y'all religious people out there will say, oh no, birth control will make people have sex. People have sex without birth control. Nobody out there
But
is
hold
looking
on
for
one
birth
second.
control.
The level of teenage pregnancy in the country, why you won't
Exactly.
support
But
the
the
children and stuff.
religious leaders
I
are
just addressed that issue in our Rosa chat room.
the
Because the guy
religious
was talking
leaders are
about how people
against it.
respect women and stuff.
And yes, the religious leaders are against it, but you need to give girls an opportunity to get to college without being interrupted by a pregnancy. Okay?
I agree.
Listen, every one of us here, I'm 64 years old. Every one of us here were in high school one time. And when we were in high school, we were horny and looking for people to have sex with. The people were looking to
For
have
some of
sex
us,
with.
start from middle school. Start from middle school.
Where you see, so the people we're looking to have sex with were girls in our class. And some of the older guys who were working in government were looking to have sex with those same girls who were unprotected.
It's still
So
happening.
At the end of the day, when we educate women more so than men, the children of those women do better. We don't need women who somebody will pick up their kinja. I'm sorry. Because when you say somebody will pick up her kinja, you basically say she's a woman. Some man will pick her up to have sex with her, and he will support her, so she can use
And
her
only
body.
because of her body, she can be successful.
Right.
She can be successful because of her intellect or because of her
Because of her intellect. And so I reject that out of hand. We need to listen.
So let Africa
Okay, you
come
may.
in for 1 minute, so we can get it.
Yeah, but actually, trees are falling on trees. Yeah, I don't think this is a 1 minute response. Trees are falling on trees, like they say in the gods are not to blaze. So the topmost tree has to first be removed. So I just want to dispel the notion that I'm supporting sexism or institutional misogyny against women. No, I'm not.
Okay.
My point I'm trying to make it is I don't know how George went off tangent to talk about birth control and all this. I'm not against birth control. I have 2 daughters. I'm not against birth control because I understand how important birth control is. I don't want my daughters to get pregnant. I don't expect my daughters in this day and age. I don't expect if they happy to be married before having sex, thank God. But I don't expect that to happen.
Good luck with that.
I don't expect that to happen.
You're a smart
so
father.
I'm not against so many things when it comes to women issue. But my point is, so the reference to women can be on the road. We all know that the responsibility of running the home falls on the men. And even though we're in the 21st century, the woman is very important, but you have to understand, I don't know what kind of study is citing, but there are studies that also say the 2-family home is better than
a single. We don't disagree. Both of us got two parent homes. Both of us got 2 parent homes. I agree with you.
So I'm not saying it's the idea that I'm saying that women are just for sex and things. No. As a matter of fact, when we were growing up, even though I'm not rich, my parents were not around. I see families where I go to my uncle's house, my auntie's house. and the father will bring the money. The mother is the one running the house. And my cousins and these cousins and other relatives, I've seen them grow up very well because even though their father was working, their mom was running the house. So nobody is dismissing the importance of a woman in the house. No, nobody is saying a woman should not get educated.
But tell us now. Tell us the truth now. Wismore, tell us the truth.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying
tell us the truth.
The decision for people to send their children to school in the interior is a matter of economic. It's a choice. Like if it is choice between a man and a woman to go to school, the community will choose the man because they feel the man's economic potential, the earning potential, and the ability to bring something back is higher. If the woman goes to
but that
and
premise is false. That premise is false.
It is. But
the premise is fundamentally flawed.
Unfortunately, how many families do you think were depending on their daughters and the young women in the families to support the families?
Unfortunately, a lot of them, and that was wrong.
Okay,
so that was wrong. And depending on that, I don't want you guys to have to, the reason why I'm keep coming because I don't want it to create a perception that.
So Alfred, let me lay this out, okay?
Not being educated. No.
Alfred,
against the fact that women girls are being used.
George, let him finish with it 1 minute, then you go ahead. Let him finish, then we'll let him go, then you go ahead, George. Go ahead, Alfred, finish.
But I don't want to create a perception that I'm against women being educated.
No, you have said that already. We don't think you are.
So the use of women during the wartime for sex and all this, but most of the women, when I read the sex they were having, it was pretty much we can classify that as rape or sexual assault.
Well,
so most of the girls when I'm having sex at that way, it was a matter of survival. So things happen, but what I'm saying is the fundamental point I'm trying to make is I do not think the Liberian society, the way we're trying to project the Liberian society, to be such a patriarchal society that women were significantly suppressed. And the other point John made about people going into where the men going to school and women not going to school, that decision was a choice between two situations. Should I send the girl to school or should I send the boy to school? So send the boy to school makes sense at that time. Now, things have changed. So let's not bash our older people for making decisions based on economic conditions at then.
No, but here's the thing.
All right, Alfred, you got your point.
Alfred, I got your point, but let me say this, okay? We can say, looking back, that our ancestors were wrong in certain things that they did. You're not going to convince me.
It's not
bashing them. Okay? Listen, there was a time some 50,000 years ago when the only way people could support their family was to go out and kill some animal and bring the animal home. I agree. At those times, physical strength was more important. Okay? I agree with that. But do you know how long it's been since we crossed that threshold? I mean, we can go back to Marie Curie, who discovered the X-ray. She was a woman. You want to talk about Albert Einstein? His wife helped him write his paper. And literally in the letters he wrote to her, he said to her, nobody will believe you because you are a woman. Okay? So we have now moved to the point where brawn, i.e. muscle, is not important. Listen, let me say this again. Muscle is not important to academic success. So any family making a choice to say that the boy child will be more productive than the girl child, whoever says that doesn't recognize that when you talk about academics, you're not talking about physically lifting boxes. You're talking about solving equations. You're talking about designing scientific studies. You don't need to have muscles to do that. And women are far more capable, and I will tell you this, and analytical than men when it comes to solving problems. Me sitting here talking to you, every doctor I have is a woman. Every doctor I have is a woman. You know why? Because they are just
my doctor is a Liberian woman.
So much more thorough. They are not cavalier about anything, right. Nothing. So I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
Let's get another African on again. Hold on, George. Yeah, Alfred, go ahead. Make your point, please. Make it quick.
speak to 2 points. First, I'd like to say that one of the people who have always went to school, where the best people I've had in school are all females. The bright and brightest I've had in Liberia are all females. That's one. Two, I also want to speak to the point raised by George regarding the ACE cable. I think the ACE cable is more of a legal and regulatory issue. At this point in Liberia, the LTA is regulating the telecommunication company using the router. That's a failure of our government. You cannot regulate Lone Star Orange using a router because the service you acquire from Orange is being provided by Orange. You cannot use a router to regulate the service provider that provided you the service. But the point about the call about the choice. Now, it is not in relation to the choice. It means that we need more education around our laws. In Liberia, when a child is born, the law provides that the best interest of the child must be considered. The child in this context is a male, it's a female. So it is not up to the parent to decide which one of the child go to school or not. It is a responsibility of the parent to send both genders to school and ensure that they're educated and well equipped to take care of our children for the future. That's the point I want to make. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a solid point. But again, they're binding constraints for parents, just how they are binding constraints for government. And sometimes that's when people make that decision. But they're making that decision based on a patriarchal system. It's not a system of equality. It's a system that the boy child will be the successful one. The boy child is better to go to school and stuff like that. That's why they make that. Until we can make education accessible and free to all our young people, we always have that challenge. Even the $3,500 Liberian dollars sometimes, where parents need to pay to register their children, they don't have it. So sometimes, kids sit out. Sometimes they get suspended and they just never go back for, let's say, they got to pay for something. It will be like $500 Liberian dollars. They don't have that $500 Liberian dollars. They tell them not to come to school. Then some kids just happy they're not coming to school. They stay away from school. So until we can rectify some of those things and make our education system something that really is open, accessible, free, and we have this pressure, because George, I think when we were young, they had truancy. You could not be in the street when school opened. They used to have a bus of van going around. You couldn't, during school time, small children also be outside all around. So the whole selling the street and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Some of the things got to change, because I mean, those kids are smart. They just need that opportunity so they can be comparable with all the other children there out in the world who, people see as being smart. Go ahead, George.
But I again, my thing is we have to prioritize the education of girls and young women in Liberia to bring them up to par. Let's look at the Liberian legislature, where people are elected. How many women are there? Don't tell me that the president pro temp is a woman, so women are represented. They're not represented in the same number.
That's one of the reasons why Boakai got elected. As much as, she's not literate, she's not educated and stuff, but because she was a woman in that position, a lot of women supported her because they needed women representation. But
to speak to their issues.
About women participation, it starts really from the grade school level, from kindergarten, having women there with equal numbers, having them participate in class elections, having them thinking towards leadership and everything like that.
And having women in your institutions that see their potential.
That's important.
Okay? That these young girls can aspire to and say, I want to be like that one day.
And one of the reasons why I really think hopefully Layli can really make an impact, not just at the university level, but in the feeder system process, probably from junior high all the way up, where she is also looking at the preparation of these young girls,
of the people who are going to be coming to her university.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. She can establish a feeder program, extra classes for the young lady, technology for women in high school and junior high school, all those things.
What about a simple thing like a program? What about a simple thing like programs for what do you call a thing? Where university students earn
to come and teach,
to come and teach stay after school. They earn credits to help defer the cost
They
of
can
their.
put a
I mean,
they can put a volunteer program
you
in.
can
All the
put
people in
together a
teachers'
volunteer
college,
program.
especially in the
Yes.
schools. So that's a
Okay.
lot that can be done, you know.
But we have to think outside the box. And I'm sorry, this is why I'm excited about this appointment. We need people who can come into the country and say, let's do it this way. Because let me say this, I've said this about 15 times now. The university has been closed for 7 months. For 7 months, the leadership of the country literally just said, the university closed, we can't do anything. Because if they felt they could do something, they would have done it by now. Can you imagine? The National University has been closed for 7 months.
I've not got a proper explanation why the university has been closed for 7 months.
How is that not a priority? Do you know what happens when idle college students are just knocking around with nowhere to go? How is this not a priority? It's been closed for 7 months. So don't tell me. So don't tell me that, oh, we need Liberian people to solve this problem. The problem is now for 7 months, they solve it. 7 months. And some people are completely happy with it going on for another 7 months.
They don't care. They're ambivalent about education anyway. But anyway, okay, George, I think we have made the point. If you want to share something different or you want to close up, I think we have justifiably explained to people. For me, again, somebody said I'm not taking a position. Definitely my position is, I hope it's very clear now. I believe that Layli is a wonderful appointment, but an appointment can be wonderful. Now she has to perform, and it's not going to be easy. We know there will be people trying to undermine her. There will be people who just by nature, will not embrace her as a president of the university, but she has to assert herself. She has to find her allies. She got to find her champions, not only within the university, but whether in the media, whether at the Ministry of Education, in different places. So she has to be a relationship builder. She has to have a clear plan, and she got to articulate that plan about where she wants to take the university. It's very important. And if, they need some strategic direction, some of us are, we get paid for that kind of work. So we can help to build a strategic plan for the University of Liberia and it will be very successful in terms of how they want to implement it, because that's the key part. That's where we fail a lot as Liberians in implementation. We don't get to really look at the nuances of implementation, look at the different pros and cons of each of the different initiatives we want to pursue, and we don't set those quantitative metrics that allow us to measure whether we are successful or not successful. So those are critical things that I think she comes from an environment where they do that, where the M&E is very solid, where they can review everything they do, where they do year-end analysis and all those other kinds of things, and not even year-end, monthly, quarterly, and be able to really have a hands-on their progress and know where they need to do some remediation to fix some things and for things to get better. So I wish her the best. I wish her husband the best, because I understand what it is to have a working wife who may be facing pressures and who may have some issues with people, not her created by her, but just by the situation she's involved with and by the politics that's in our academic environment. So I wish both of them a success. I hope you'll be there to support her. I hope she will have the fortitude, the resilience, the strength, and just the understanding and knowledge, like Clarice said, that she understands the Liberian system. And I hope so, having been married to a Liberian man, having been involved with Ellie to some extent, having coming back and forth, to the country. I wish her the best. Go ahead, George.
I would place any failure she has directly on the head of the President of the Republic of Liberia. Okay? The culture shift that needs to happen needs the full support of the President of Liberia. The radical changes that need to happen need the full support of the President of Liberia. If she's going to suggest changes and he's going to say, oh, take it slow, then he needs to get out of the way. At this point in the life of our country, we can no longer compromise on the level of radical change that we need. All of these people, I said to somebody today, who'd have been running around talking about CEO. I don't even know what the hell that means. And I'm not interested in knowing what it means. But if you're going to be a militant, then you need to channel your militancy towards results that move the country forward. You can't simply be a militant for sake of being a militant. Every time somebody say holler, you in the front with your beret on and you go and holler. I tell everybody, my favorite militant in the world is Fidel Castro. When his country was abandoned by the rest of the world and put under 50 years of withering sanctions, he educated his people. Cuba has one of the highest literacy rates in the world. Cuba does some of the best scientific research in the world. All the people in the Caribbean go to Cuba for eye surgery and all of those kind of things. And Castro was a militant, but his people went to school. So when you are sitting and dancing in your militancy and thinking about how wonderful it is to stand behind somebody talking about say yo, try to say yo about the school being open. Okay, but to go back, her failure and success will be based on the amount of support she gets from the president of Liberia to root out the institutional corruption at the University of Liberia. And she needs to know that some of us are prepared to fight for her. That's all I got to say.
Wonderful. Thank you. We wish her the best, folks. We appreciate all of you who listen, who call in. We'll try to do this, on a little bit more frequent basis. Like Uzundu said, he wants to get George out here and talking some stuff. I said, I got to, no, Walter Fleming, don't bring a president. George said he will do some bad things to Liberians. He will kill the first 200 corrupt people. So you don't want him there to be president.
Walter, I appreciate what you are saying, but let me leave you with this. If I'm president of Liberia, the number one thing I would do in the first year is to build a jail that can hold 50,000 people. Right now, our criminal justice system is hampered by the fact that we cannot incarcerate people on the level that they need to be incarcerated. So when people steal from the government, when they commit crimes against the government, we say, oh, but we can't put all the people in jail because the post stockade is that's the Liberia.
Oh, the jail not good enough.
The jail is not good enough. So for me, okay, I want to build a prison that is large enough to hold 50,000 people. Okay, we can spread it around to create jobs in all the counties. That's good. Okay, and then we have to kill some people. Okay, we have to set an example. Listen, Ghana is where it is today because of Jerry Rawlings. That's why it's where it is today.
It is.
At some point,
but Kwame Nkrumah laid the foundation.
But Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown by the same people who came and said that he was mortgaging the country because he wanted to build Akosombo Dam. Okay, when Rawlings came and he got rid of most of those people,
they extol his virtues.
Right. Okay. They hated Rawlings. But I'm telling you right now that if I'm president, every month I'm hanging some people. Every month. We will click. Listen, I don't want to be president. Let me tell you. So take that out of your mind. I don't want to my American friends. Yes, I will abuse human rights. I will. Okay. At least for the first 3 or 4 years. Look at Rwanda.
That's why we get elected to that position in our country.
Listen, let me tell you something.
So folks, thank you for watching.
But hold on, Isaac. Let me tell you what I had said about Ellen. If Ellen had been the success I thought she could have been, even if she died away and bomb her so she can be president in death, I don't care. Okay? Look at Rwanda and Paul Kagame. Kagame is a dictator straight up.
That's true.
But Rwanda is a tremendous success story.
But
Kigali is the cleanest city in Africa.
he's a progressive dictator.
It's the cleanest city in Africa.
And you know, they got the highest female representation in parliament. Talking about what he was saying, they got the highest female representation in parliament.
Thank you. So we can't look to Rwanda
in the government structure.
Right. We can't look to Rwanda and extol the progress that they have made without looking at how they made that progress, the discipline that was required. It requires a tremendous amount of discipline.
It comes with, yes, it comes with effort. It comes with work. Like you always say, George, for government to work, what happening?
Government has to work. In order for government to work, government has to
If you work, it will not happen.
It's not going to happen. I take pictures of Liberia for my business. Dirt people building mansions on dirt roads. They don't even care. But that's a different story. Thank you, guys. It's been great.
I'm about to say, you want to switch this to Pepper Bird area services now? We'll do a special show for Pepper Bird.
We'll do a special show for Pepper Bird. But at the end of the day,
all right, thank you, folks.
We'll talk.
Bye. Bye.